Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at
how perfectly competitive firms make out decisions. A perfectly competitive firm has only one major decision to make: what quantity to produce. A perfectly competitive firm must accept the price for its output as determined by the product's market demand and supply. The maximum profit will occur at the quantity where the difference between total revenue and total cost is largest. Total cost and total revenue at a raspberry farm. Total revenue for a perfectly competitive firm is a straight line sloping up. The slope is equal to the price of the good. Total cost also slopes up, but with more curvature. At higher levels of output, total cost begins to slope upward more steeply because of diminishing marginal returns. The maximum profit will occur at the quantity where the difference between the total revenue and the total cost is largest. Comparing marginal revenue and marginal cost. Marginal revenue is the additional revenue gained from selling one more unit. Marginal revenue is equal to the change in total revenue divided by the change in quantity. Marginal cost is the cost per additional unit sold. Marginal cost is equal to the change in total cost divided by the change in quantity. The profit maximizing choice for a perfectly competitive firm will occur at the level of output where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Marginal revenue and marginal cost at a raspberry farm, the raspberry market. The equilibrium price for raspberries is determined through the interaction of the market supply and the market demanded at $4. Marginal revenue and marginal cost at a raspberry farm, the individual farmer. For a perfectly competitive firm, the marginal revenue curve is a horizontal line because it is equal to the price of the good at $4, determined by the market. The marginal cost curve is sometimes initially downward sloping if there is a region of increasing marginal returns at low levels of output. It is eventually upward sloping at higher levels of output as diminishing marginal returns kicks in. Does maximizing profit imply an actual economic profit? The answer depends on the relationship between the price and the average total cost, which is the average profit or profit margin. Price and the average cost at the raspberry farm. In Figure A, price intersects marginal cost above the average cost curve. Since price is greater than average cost, the firm is making a profit. In Figure B, price intersects marginal cost at the minimum point of the average cost curve. Since price is equal to average cost, the firm is breaking even. In Figure C, the price intersects marginal cost below the average cost curve. Since price is less than average cost, the firm is making a loss. The shutdown point. Why can a firm not avoid losses by shutting down and not producing at all? The intersection of the average variable cost curve and the marginal cost curve. If the price is less than the minimum average variable cost, then the firm shuts down. If the price is greater than the minimum average variable cost, then the firm stays in business. The shutdown point for the raspberry farm. In Figure A, the farm produces at a level of 65. It is making losses, but the price is greater than the average variable cost, so it continues to operate. In Figure B, the farm produces at a level of 60. This price is less than the average variable cost for this level of output. If the firm cannot pay workers the variable costs, then it has to shut down. The break-even point is the level of output where the marginal cost intersects the average cost curve at the minimum point of the average cost. If the price is at this point, the firm is earning zero economic profits. We can divide the marginal cost curve into three zones based on where it is crossed by the average cost and the average variable cost curves. We can call the point where the marginal cost crosses the average cost the break-even point. If the firm is operating where price is greater than the break-even point, then price is greater than the average cost and the firm is earning profits. If the price is equal to the break-even point, then the firm is making zero profits. If the shutdown point is less than the price, which is less than the break-even point, the firm is making losses. But it will continue to operate in the short run since it is covering its variable costs and more if the price is above the shutdown price. If the price is less than the shutdown point, then the firm will shut down immediately, since it is not even covering its variable costs. How a profit maximizing monopoly chooses output and price. A monopolist can charge any price for its product, but the demand for the firm's product constrains the price. Since the monopolist is the only firm in the market, its demand curve is the same as the market demand curve. The perceived demand curve for a perfect competitor and a monopolist. In Figure A, a perfectly competitive firm's demand curve is flat. The flat shape means that the firm can sell either a low quantity, QI, or a high quality, QH, at the exact same price, P. A monopolist demand curve is the same as the market demand curve, which for most goods is downward sloping. So, if a monopolist chooses a high level of output, QH, it can charge a relatively low level price, PL. Conversely, if the monopolist chooses a low level of output, QL, it can then charge a high price, PH. The challenge for the monopolist is to choose the combination of price and quantity that maximizes profits. Total cost and total revenue for a monopolist. Total cost rise as output increases. The highest profit will occur at the quantity where total revenue is furthest above total cost. Total revenue and total cost for a health pill monopoly. The total revenue of the monopoly firm called Health Pill first rises and then falls. Low levels of output bring in relatively little total revenue, but because of the quantity is low. High levels of output bring in relatively less revenue because the high level pushes the market price. The total cost curve is upward sloping. Profits will be highest at the quantity of output where total revenue is most above total cost. The profit maximizing level of output is not the same as for the revenue maximizing level of output, which should make sense since profits take costs into account and revenues do not. Marginal revenue and marginal cost for a monopolist. In the real world, a monopolist often does not have enough information to analyze its entire total revenues or total cost curves. The firm does not know exactly what would happen if it were to alter production dramatically. However, a monopolist often has a fairly reliable information about how changing output by a small or moderate amount will affect its marginal revenues or marginal costs. Marginal profit is the profit of one more unit of output computed as marginal revenue minus marginal cost. Marginal revenue and marginal cost for the health pill monopoly. For a monopoly like health pill, marginal revenue decreases as it sells additional units of output. The marginal cost curve is upward sloping, and the profit maximizing choice for the monopoly will be to produce at a quantity where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. If the monopoly produces a lower level, then marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost at those levels of output, and the firm can make higher profits by expanding output. If the firm produces a greater quantity, then a marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue, and the firm can make higher profits by reducing its quantity of output. Illustrating profits at the health pill monopoly. Using the same marginal revenue and marginal cost curves, the average cost curve and the demand curve are added. The health pill firm first chooses the quantity where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost at a level of 5. The monopolist then decides what price to change by looking at the demand curve it faces. The large box with the quantity on the horizontal axis and the demand on the vertical axis, which shows total revenue for the firm. The light shaded box, which is the quantity at the horizontal level, and the average cost at the production of the vertical axis, shows the the firm's total costs. The large total revenue box minus the smaller total cost box leaves the darkly shaded box that shows total profits. Since the price changed is above average cost, the firm is earning positive profits. How a profit maximizing monopoly decides price. There are 3 steps. First, the monopolist determines the profit maximizing level of output. Second, the monopolist decides what price to charge. Third, it calculates total revenue, total cost, and profit. So, how does a profit maximizing monopoly decide price? First, the monopoly is going to choose the profit maximizing level of output at Q1 by choosing the quantity where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Second, the monopoly decides decides how much to charge for the level of output at Q1 by drawing a straight line from Q1 to the point R on its perceived demand curve. Thus, the monopoly will charge a price of P1. Step 3. The monopoly is going to identify its profit. Total revenue will be Q1 multiplied by P1. Total cost will be Q1 multiplied by the average cost of producing Q1, which is point S, which shows that the average cost curve is to be P2. Profits will be the total revenue rectangle minus the total cost rectangle, which is the shaded zone the figure shows. The monopolist's marginal revenue curve versus the demand curve. Since the market demand curve is conditional, the marginal revenue curve for a monopolist lies beneath the demand curve. Inefficiency of monopoly. Allocative efficiency is producing the optimal quantity of some output and the quantity where the marginal benefit to society of one more unit just equals the marginal cost.
If you guys like this video, please make sure to comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.